Over the last 10 years, something very strange has happened. Something that we thought would never happen before. Certainly something that we'd never seen before. The thing that's grown in value more than anything else, the best thing you could have invested in, doesn't even exist. Wow. It's not property or real estate or some hot stock like Tesla or Amazon. It's a digital currency. It's something that's grown so quickly, it's become the best performing asset of the last decade, growing more on average 230 times per year. It dwarfs anything even close to it and makes investing into anything else look like child's play. This is Bitcoin, a decentralized digital currency. In this video, I'm going to look at all the reasons that you might want to consider investing in Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and also look at some of the downsides too. I'll then compare the two, weigh things up, give you my opinion on what I currently do with my portfolio and what percentage I have invested in cryptocurrencies, and then give you some advice at the end as well. But firstly, let's look at cryptocurrency as a whole and see how we ended up here in the first place. Born really just a few years ago back in 2009, as the world emerged from the financial crisis, Bitcoin was born. It started on its journey to change the face of money forever. Although its creators remain a mystery to this day, the purpose was clear: to create a decentralized monetary platform that could enable you or me to send money to each other without any central control of the banking institutions and oversight by government. We could do this quickly, easily, and securely. It would be a currency unable to be printed like this, but instead mined in a digital sense as a reward for upholding the decentralized network. Computers connected via the internet, all working independently, but all with a full copy of the complete ledger, working independently to verify those transactions. Everyone acting as custodians, making sure that no one's interfering with the blockchain and verifying everything that goes on, making it one of the most secure platforms and a secure way of transferring money and verifying who owns Bitcoin. It was also created as a deflationary asset, which means that you can't just go ahead and print more money, as we discussed earlier. The maximum amount of Bitcoins in circulation will only ever be 21 million. And after that point, that's it. Everything else in terms of the price will just be a pure supply and demand. If more people want to buy Bitcoin, the price will go up. If less people want Bitcoin, the price will go down. It will be a pure free-for-all market. Since Bitcoin, tens of thousands of other currencies have come onto the market. Big names, of course, like Ethereum, Cardano, Tether, and other kind of stable coins, and also lots of other meme coins and coins too.
You know, the dink-doink.
The entire market of all these cryptocurrencies nearly approached $2 trillion at one point and is slowly working its way back down, but who knows where the future could take it. We've seen plenty of victims along the way too though. Fraud, money laundering, pump and dump schemes, coins arriving from 1 second and then just gone in the next. We've even seen our first cryptocurrency exchange IPO with Coinbase, and our first country in the world accepting Bitcoin as a legal tender in El Salvador. One thing I know for certain, that this is just the beginning and it's going to be one hell of a wild ride. Now before we jump into the upsides of cryptocurrency, let's very quickly just understand how the current monetary system works and where we are today. It's really important to understand how that paper in your wallet, or in my case, plastic, is managed, controlled and regulated. Why a picture of the Queen on a coin can be worth so much versus me just creating some metal out of nowhere and having almost no value whatsoever. Believe it or not, most currencies ever created since the dawn of time have failed, whether they died out in wars, replaced by different kinds of regulation or laws, or even completely evaporated with hyperinflation. Money hasn't lasted very long. Some currencies lost so much of their value at one point that they were even used to heat people's homes because the paper it was printed on was worth more than the money itself. Yes, this really did happen to Germany after the First World War, as the government had printed so much money. People ended up getting paid twice a day, given time off at work to go and take their money and go food shopping before prices went up, and they had to use wheelbarrows and backpacks to move their money around. Crazy problems, right? Currently as it stands, there's about 170 currencies in the world. Believe it or not, the median age is only 40. That's right, 40 years old. It means most of the currencies floating around in the world are only just middle age. There's people older than them holding the notes. And there's a huge amount who are just teenagers.
So unfair, I hate you!
Don't be too trusting in the old paper and plastic money. It's really not been as stable as you might imagine. Now let's take a quick look at why I think cryptocurrency is a good investment, and I've got three major arguments here. Number one, a store of value. And this one specifically aligns to Bitcoin. Due to it being deflationary, as we spoke about earlier, and we know there's only ever going to be 21 million in circulation, Bitcoin could be an amazing store of value. Traditionally, stores of value have been given in gold and silver, Things we know can't be recreated very easily. Things we know that take a long time to mine out of the ground. They can hold a huge amount of value and have been used traditionally to back paper money and back our traditional currencies as well. Very difficult to manipulate. You can't recreate it. It's very safe, very secure, and of course we can physically touch it too. Gold and silver have been used for hundreds of years as a way to trade and buy for goods, and also hedge against the likes of inflation as well. When things are going a little bit crazy in your own country, you move your money into gold as a safe place to stay. However, saying all that, it's a pain in the backside to manage. Although it might be nice and we all want to imagine having a big bank vault full of gold bars, these are incredibly heavy, difficult to move around, and there's not really an easy way to get them from one side of the world to another without hiring a huge security detail and trying to work out how much they're worth. Having a digital currency replaces all of that. We don't have to worry about managing and protecting our gold with massive bank vaults and guns anymore, and we can just transfer the money digitally using the Bitcoin blockchain network. The total value of all the gold around the world is approximately worth $10 trillion in today's money. So Bitcoin could have a direct replacement of that, which means it's got a long way to go and could 10x from here. So is gold going to die and give out to Bitcoin? Well, it could do. It's still got a lot of nice uses. I mean, it's a great conductor of electricity, looks good on a HDMI cable, and of course some people like to wear it as jewellery as well. So maybe it'll go back to just being a nice shiny thing we like to have and put a lot of money into. Reason number 2, DeFi and smart contracts. DeFi is something you probably have heard about before. It stands for decentralized finance. Essentially, in really simple terms, decentralized finance means that we're removing people like banks and other institutions and replacing that with a whole decentralized network where we're able to transact directly with each other without someone taking a cut in the middle. Things like loans, exchanging currencies, can all be done using a decentralized network of computers, which could make things more accessible, faster and cheaper, and not prone to different kinds of manipulation or central control. Think about this, there's hundreds of millions of people in the world with no access to bank account or a monetary system, and decentralized finance could potentially provide this for people. Decentralized finance also makes it really easy to leverage your money and leverage your cryptocurrency and use it in returns for loans as well, without having to go through credit checks, again through that middleman banking traditional system. Right now, in just a few short minutes, you could leverage all of your current cryptocurrency, put it into a different platform like BlockFi or Nexo or some of the other ones out there, leverage that, take it out as cold hard cash, go spend and go invest it, and then pay it back on your terms. All without the use of a credit check or all without the use of a central bank or a central regulatory body. Obviously be really careful, but it's interesting to know nonetheless. And my final reason is the huge amount of possibilities and business use cases that we might see in the future. Everything centered around using the blockchain technology, smart contracts, and decentralization. Firstly, just think about identity and digital identity. Having a blockchain with every single identity, making sure that we're completely locked in, we can't be spoofed, we know who we are, we know all of our characteristics, all of our details, and no one can just create another one of us and take money from a bank and try and get loans in our name. Also think about ownership and digital rights. You would have recently seen all of the rise of NFTs, which are non-fungible tokens, which effectively are the ownership rights tied to an individual for something they've purchased, something that they want to own. Having the ownership of something in a blockchain indefinitely and not being able to change it can be incredibly powerful. The most expensive NFT sold so far was worth $69 million from an artist called Webull. Of course it had to be $69 million, this is the internet after all. Think about also the business of logistics and tracking. In a supply chain, for example, different parts coming all over the world, using blockchain technology to verify where those parts have been, who they've come from, making sure they're legitimate, making sure they're authentic, and having that open ledger that everyone can access. Rather than having central control, you can verify everything that you've made, for example, in your car, where it's come from and how long it's going to take to get there, as well as making sure it's an authentic part. Because it's decentralized and no single entity has control over that network. So there really is so much potential here. And yes, of course, we still need to see this develop and we still need to see these industries grow. But these sectors are absolutely ripe for disruption and there's some huge potential here. So I think the upside is looking pretty good. Now let's take our Bitcoin hat off and look at some of the risks. Now with the potential for big upsides and great rewards, we're always looking at major risks as well. Very similar to any other investment you might do, whether that's property or stocks and shares. And oh boy, cryptocurrencies are subject to some massive risks as well. We've seen entire exchanges go under, money being stolen, money laundering, theft, fraud, pump and dump schemes, you name it. All of the benefits of that decentralized blockchain and lack of control come with the massive downsides of having no ultimate protection from government and regulatory bodies. There's no protection if you send all of your cryptocurrency to the wrong address. There's no refunds here. There's no credit card consumer protection for you, young man. I'm afraid there's no refunds for you if you pay for everything in Bitcoin and hoping for something to arrive in the next 2 weeks from China. That's on you. There's also no kind of deposit protection schemes like we have over here in the UK with the FCA, or of course in the US with the SEC. No one's there to protect you or back you up if things go the wrong way. But hey, it's still the early days, so regulation's probably going to come, and regulation will eventually evolve throughout the world as governments kind of get to grips with what they need to do. And that's certainly one of the biggest concerns that people have, government regulation and how far they're going to intervene. We all saw how hard China came down on miners recently, and of course, thousands of mining machines are now making their way outside of China and going into other countries where they're safe and able to carry on with their job. And in March 2014, the IRS stated that all virtual currencies, including Bitcoin, would be taxed as property rather than currency. A future possible hint into how kind of this market will be regulated eventually. What it looks like though, it's anyone's guess, and each country can do whatever they like, so expect to see a bit of a Wild West out there. It's also an incredibly volatile market. If you think trading meme stocks is for the faint-hearted, wait until you try cryptocurrency. Now in theory, with more money pouring in, volatility should drop a little bit, but we're talking about an industry here in a sector which can be manipulated by a single tweet from Elon Musk, so just be careful. If you want to be involved in this asset class, you're going to need an extremely strong stomach to make sure that you have no emotional attachment whatsoever to your digital wallet. If you look at your normal portfolio and cry when you lose 1% on the S&P 500, then you probably don't want to be getting involved in cryptocurrency, because I don't think you'll be sleeping much.
Okay.
And if you're going YOLO, putting all of your assets into this class without sorting yourself out with an emergency fund or making sure that you've got money for a rainy day, you're going to be in for a very stressful and worrisome few years. If you have a bill to pay and you need to sell your assets, you could be losing 50% in just a couple of days. So what are my thoughts balancing all of those arguments, and what do I currently do? So on balance, my personal opinion is that yes, you should invest in crypto. But I say this knowing nothing about your financial circumstances, so let me elaborate a little bit on my situation. So I'm 32 and I've got the majority of my assets in stocks and shares and some equity in some other companies. I'm a homeowner too, I don't really have any other major debts, and I've previously mined cryptocurrency and been with it for quite a few years now, dipping in and out, kind of understanding at least a little bit of how the industry works. Now previously I've sold my Bitcoin, but that's another poor story and of course a lesson learned. Remember, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm just some guy on the internet, so please make sure you do all your own research and seek out professional help if you need it. Overall though, I've got about 8 to 10% of all my liquid assets in cryptocurrency, the majority of which is with Ethereum, and I also own some Bitcoin as well. I mostly hold all of my assets in my BlockFi account, link in the description below if you want to join me, and I earn interest on my crypto every month. And I've also opened up an account recently on Nexo, who pay interest daily, where I've got a small holding of Ethereum as well. I do tend to kind of dollar cost into this market, paying in monthly rather than going in lump sum, ultimately to try and smooth out some of that volatility that happens in the marketplace. And in all honesty, I'm very comfortable being able to say, if all of it goes to zero tomorrow, I'm fine. Now, of course, I'll be a little frustrated and a little disappointed about the whole industry, but I'll be in a financial position that allows me to say, you know what, that's fine. And that's the kind of level of risk that I'm looking to take at the moment. I think getting into good habits of saving money and investing every month into solid, proven investments like stocks and shares is probably more valuable to get started, and then eventually just dabble a little bit into cryptocurrencies because there could be some big upsides. But going all in on it, I think is incredibly risky. Yes, some people will make money, and you'll hear about all of the amazing stories online about the crypto millionaires and Dogecoin millionaire, for example, but that really is a small minority of people. So my personal opinion as a non-financial advisor, just some random dude on the internet, would just be incredibly careful. Don't fall for any of the stupid pump and dump schemes. Be careful where you put your money and make sure you give yourself a really solid foundation. And what do I think about all the coins out there? I think Bitcoin is certainly here to stay, and I think its minimum position should really be as that store of value. And we'll see how it evolves after that, but certainly replacing gold should be its main job. After that, I think Ethereum or Ether in the Ethereum network is going to be incredibly powerful. The amount of applications and developers and potential that network has really is quite mind-blowing and astonishing about how it can disrupt the entire financial system as we know it and really make some huge strides in that area. And then of course, I don't really know much about all the other projects going on there, but potentially dive into some of the other ones, have a little look, see what they're doing. There's some other really interesting projects out there you might want to have a very, very small position of your money into. But personally for me, Bitcoin and Ethereum with a bias toward Ethereum is my personal view. So there you have it. Have a strong stomach, get your diamond hands out, let's get in for the long ride. Whether you're a hodler or you're looking to buy and sell, it's a difficult world out there, it's a complex world, so look after yourself, look after your money. Certainly some really interesting times ahead. Let me know in the comments below what your portfolio looks like. Do you think 8 to 10% is too risky into cryptocurrency at my age and my position? Are you looking to invest a bit more? If you've YOLO'd everything, please also let me know and justify your position below as well. If you found the video useful at any point, drop me a like. It really helps my video get out to more people as a small creator, and subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next one.